All righty. All right, Deborah, we are live. So welcome everybody. I am here with Debra Nicolosi this evening, and I am so excited to talk to her. She is a personal friend of mine. Deborah is a bioenergetics practitioner, and I'm so excited to hear what she has to share with us tonight on how she has helped her clients with breast implant illness and other clients as well, not just with breast implant illness. She's an RN and she focuses a lot on hormones and diet and detoxing and energy work and body balancing. So I think she really has a lot to offer our community. And I'm thrilled that you're here with us, Deborah. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I know you're busy as people are coming out of quarantine, and I know that you're keeping very busy. So I appreciate you making the time to talk about this. And what I didn't mention is Deborah is also a breast implant illness survivor herself. So that makes her extra special and able to really cater to her clients who are struggling because she has that personal experience as well. So I think we could start, Deborah, if you don't mind, a little bit about your story and when you got your implants and kind of a little bit about your own personal experience, and then we'll go into the practitioner side of you.
Okay. Well, I got my breast implants, I think in 1983. It was around 82, 83. And in the very beginning, I thought it was great. I didn't have a lot of the issues that some women have. My skin didn't break out, or I didn't have but I did develop horrible allergies. To the point where when my kids were young then, if they took a nap, I had to take a nap. I couldn't make it through the day. Right. And then every few years, the allergies got worse and worse. And I went to four over those decades. I went to 4 different doctors asking them to remove my implants, and no one would touch me. And then I read your book. And I was so excited, and I had a client come in, and she was talking about, she actually introduced me to your book. And so immediately called Dr. B and got myself into his office. And one of my coworkers, actually, we both went. She went a week before me, and we did most of our appointments together, which was great. And then had the explant surgery in November of 2019, and instantly I just felt so much better. And I'm 67 years old, and when I was, Christy, can you look at this? When I was in my early 60s, like 65-ish, 60, somewhere around there, all of a sudden, I went from a B cup, C cup, to a double D cup within a matter of months.
Wow.
Which was very bizarre to me. So your information got into my hands at just the right time, because I was getting so toxic from those implants that excuse me.
That's okay. Is your computer acting up for you?
Okay, you can't see that? Okay, if you can't see it, that's fine.
No, we can. It's fine to me. I have to say,
okay, good.
67, you look amazing to me, actually. you look so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So anyway, that fortunately at that time, that's when I heard you read your book, got to meet Dr. B, and then, you know, worked through the process of being able to get those nasty things removed.
Right.
And so it worked. And as soon as when I woke up from the anesthesia, I felt better. it's hard to explain. I felt lighter. I felt cleaner, if that's possible. I just felt like my body wasn't fighting anymore. It's like it's been in such a huge battle that came on so slowly over the years.
Right.
I didn't realize how much my body was fighting. And then it just was able to release and relax, which was wonderful.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I hear a lot of, women say that they feel lighter, less toxic. Just that heaviness kind of lifts after they get their implants out. So that makes a lot of sense to me. I'm so glad that Pat brought the book to you, and that it came to you at the time when you needed it. That's amazing. And it's crazy to me to think for 30 years you were literally thinking you should get these out, and nobody would really listen to you.
No, they wouldn't. I actually had one doctor ridicule me and was very rude. And I left his office. I was like, oh my God. And then I stopped even trying for a number of years.
Sure.
And then I found a woman doctor and here in New Jersey. And so she was a plastic surgeon. So I went to her thinking maybe she would be a little more of a sympathetic ear, still trying to deal with this thing. And she goes, oh no, you can have those till you're 90. And I have to tell you, when mine were removed, because when I had them put in, they only did silicone implants. And when I had them removed, the only thing left of those implants was a silicone gel in the middle. The exterior was completely gone.
Wow. So it was like that, the pictures of like goo that you see almost, right?
Yep, it was. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And like Pat and this other gal, they got their implants back. And so I said to Dr. B, how come I didn't get my implants back? He goes, are you kidding me? Because there was nothing to get back.
Yeah. At that point, it's just probably so toxic he can't even give them back. That it's just goo.
It's a big gob of goo. It's disgusting.
Oh God, thank God they're out of you. Now, you only had the one set, right, Debra?
I did.
Okay, so they were literally 40 years.
I was told one and done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like so many of us, we were all told that, and we believed that we'd have the nicest boobs in the nursing home, and
yeah,
far from the case, for sure.
For sure, yeah.
Wow, so that's really incredible. So obviously, no regrets getting them out.
I have absolutely no regrets at all. No.
That's wonderful.
Anybody I know who has implants, I encourage them to have them removed, because why are you keeping those toxins in your body? Especially in my office, people are coming in to get themselves cleaned up, to feel better. They usually have some kind of a chronic illness. That's why they get here. And, to keep those implants in their body is just so counterproductive to what they really want to do.
Right. You're fighting an uphill battle at that point,
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if you've been a practitioner for 40 years, correct?
I've been an RN for over 40 years. Okay. I've had my office and done this practice. I just started my 15th year, the beginning of this month.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm wondering if the lifestyle that you've led, being that it's been probably, I'm guessing, pretty healthy, and you've known how to, treat some of these chronic issues, if that is what helped you sustain the majority of your health for so many years, even with the implants.
I think so. I think it has, because it seemed like every 10 years I would get like a new major allergy. In my 20s, I became lactose intolerant. In my 30s, I developed environmental intolerance. In my 40s, I became gluten intolerant.
Right.
And and that's what led me into doing what I do. I was seeking help for it from someone who came down from Canada.
Right.
Actually to work on dogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So she came down to work on dogs, and I was doing rescue work at the time. So I took some dogs out to her to work on. And I said, look, I developed this horrible allergy. Can you help me? And she said, yes. And she did.
So that's how it started.
That's how it started.
Okay. So yeah, all right. So let's dive into let's dive into your practice now. So you're a bioenergetic practitioner. Tell me what that means.
That means that when I test people, I do muscle testing. I don't do any blood work. And I have thousands of vials that have different vibrational frequencies in them because everything, whether it's living or inanimate, has a vibrational frequency. And so it's based on Chinese medicine. And so they figured out how to use computers to get the frequencies into these little vials. And the vials will hold those frequencies almost forever. And so when I hold that against somebody and muscle test them, it becomes very obvious to them and to me as well how they react to it. And so if they have a negative reaction to it, then that's something that we can work on to get them to stop like overreacting, or like in the case of toxins, let's say, I don't know, benzene that would be in a breast implant. It gets your body, first of all, to start dumping the toxins associated with that, so you can help start clearing them out of your system. So some of the gals who've had the explant surgery come here, and we work on those items to help facilitate them getting them out of all of their tissues.
Okay. So when I was younger, I was about probably 20. I went to a dermatologist, and I had never been to him before. I've always struggled with skin issues, even prior to the implants. So I had gone to him, and he had put me on a couple of products, and I said, something's not working, something's irritating my skin. So he had me hold both of the products in my arm, in my hands, and hold them straight. He did the muscle testing, and he told me which one was not agreeing with me. And I think it turned out that he was correct. So is that similar to like the muscle testing that you're talking about?
It's similar. There are as many practitioners there are that many different ways that people will muscle test. But yes, it's similar. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Very interesting. So I have a personal question, because I did some reading on your website and stuff like that. So when someone comes to you, and you're located in New Jersey, so for all of those watching on our local Breast Implant Illness page, she is located in New Jersey, which is awesome. When I was reading your website, you ask people to bring a sample of water. Is that correct?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell me about that? I'm curious.
I know. That's a weird thing to ask people to bring for an appointment. I ask them to bring a sample of their tap water, their drinking water, and their shower water. And the reason for that is when I work on you, it's going to cause your body to start dumping toxins. When you dump those toxins out of your tissues, they get excreted through your urine. So I want to make sure when you drink your water, you bathe in it, or you're cooking with it, that your body accepts it, utilizes it well, and absorbs it into the tissues to help flush out all the toxins.
Very interesting. Being that I suffer from skin issues, I'm always curious about my water. I know I have very hard water. I drink Fiji water. How's that?
Fiji water is a really good water.
Oh, good.
I have nothing to do with that company, by the way, but it is.
Neither of us
people who come in who we test for Fiji water, they test great for that.
Oh, great. Okay.
There are other waters that don't test well.
Yeah, I think the water I'm putting in my body is good, but I'm not so convinced about the water that I'm putting on my body in my shower with my sink.
You can get a shower filter.
Okay, so that kind of stuff is helpful, right?
It is. It'll help pull out a lot of the chemicals that are put in to treat the water.
Okay, so I feel like I have so many questions. I don't want to bombard you, but I don't want to forget. So. But I think I already did. Okay, so here, if someone comes to you and has breast implants and says, I've got all these chronic issues, I've been to all these doctors, can you run me through briefly, like, what kind of things you'd be able to maybe help them with prior to implant surgery and then post?
Yeah. So if someone comes in and they have breast implants, and actually, since reading your book, that is now a question on my intake form. Um,
Yay.
is if someone has breast implants,
Wonderful.
because women don't, either they forget it, they think it's just a part of them, and they don't think about it. And I've had one woman who had some very chronic issues directly related to those implants, and she's like, "Don't even talk to me about getting these removed." I'm like, "Okay." And then I was running a program on her. I was doing a protocol, and part of the protocol was for the breast implants, and it was just too much going on. And so, because she wasn't interested in having them removed, I kind of set that aside. And at the end, she goes, "You ran that about the breast implants, right?" And I said, "No, because you said you didn't want them removed, and we had so many other things that we needed to focus on, but I can do it another time."
Right.
But yeah, some people are adamant about that.
Yeah, and I think it might have been the last interview I did. The person had said, sometimes people just don't even think to mention it. It says list all surgeries, but they leave it out for whatever reason, or, they just forget. And like you said, they think it's a part of them, so they don't think to mention it. So it's great that it's on your intake form now so that you at least know. And there are women, I know I've spoken to a bunch of women that just, okay, I understand that they're making me sick, or that possibly my symptoms are from my implants, but I'm not willing to give them up for whatever reason. Everybody has their own reasons, and I certainly don't feel that I'm in a place to judge. But so can you help women that do want to keep implants in, or is that make
I
it?
can help them with their toxic load. I can
Mhm.
help them keep their toxic load down so they won't have as many symptoms from them. But as long as those implants are in your body, they're just they're just giving off. It's like in the Charlie Brown cartoon, the little kid Pigpen, and he's just got that thing of dirt over him, all that cloud of dirt, and it's kind of like they have a cloud of
Toxin.
gunk over them. Yeah, toxins.
Right.
And
Right.
so, I mean, we can help. I can certainly help keep their toxic load down. They can feel better, and we can do some other things. But I think it's just absolutely vital to
Yeah,
getting them removed.
I agree for sure. So, are you able to go through some of what your detox protocols look like, or is it individualized for everyone?
It's pretty individualized, because nothing is cookie cutter around here. Everything, when you come in, we go through, I have a very short intake, and then I have some questions I ask you that we go through half of the intake together. And then I start testing people to see, a big thing is Candida. Candida is huge. And because stress levels are so high, especially living here in the Northeast, in a metropolitan area, it's just part of being here. And so creates a huge problem for people, and tends to get the body ripe for Candida overgrowth, which doesn't help anything. And it has similar symptoms to breast implant illness. They're almost identical. You could lay one on top of the other.
Right. So, what kind of things do you do to help with Candida issues?
Well, I have a Candida protocol that I follow. I have a diet that I put people on. I have supplements, because the diet will starve the Candida, because most people unwittingly are eating things that feed it. And everybody who comes in here tells me they eat healthy. It's very rare that someone comes in and tells me that they're not eating well.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
then we discuss what they're eating.
One, right? Sugar is the biggest.
Oh, sugar's huge.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I have a couple of supplements I recommend to help kill the Candida. I found some that work really, really well together. I have 3 that I use in conjunction with each other. And then I have actually some vials, some energetic vials that have Candida, different strains of Candida, so that And then I have a little machine, I can set that on. And because we're dealing with meridians here, I have, when I put a vial on top of this little plate, and then I touch different meridian points, whatever's on that plate, because they're holding a rod to connect them to it, they will, the frequency from that vial will go into their, will actually get transmitted into their meridian system and start causing them to dump the associated toxins and releasing them. It also helps with cravings, and cravings, especially sugar cravings or carb cravings, are a big part of candida overgrowth. And as a matter of fact, I had a woman in here this morning, and we were actually working on smoking cessation.
Okay.
That because it helps take the cravings away. So I told her, I said, you can go 2 weeks now and you're not going to crave cigarettes. So if you wait, if you don't have a cigarette and because you're going, there's an emotional connection there too.
Sure.
But if you don't have a cigarette in the next 2 weeks, you will be through the physical part of the nicotine withdrawal, and it'll make it easier for you to just not start smoking again.
Right. Very cool. Okay. Awesome. Anesthesia. So preparing someone for anesthesia and then recovering from anesthesia. What's your role in that?
Well, I have some protocols I have one protocol. I have 2 machines that I use, and one machine has, I think, about 30 different anesthesias in it. Okay. So I can test the person for all of those anesthesias to see which ones I react to, and which ones they react to, I should say. Right. And then we can work on those specific ones, because we don't necessarily know what anesthesia that the anesthesiologist prefers to use. Right. I think at Dr. B's office, they like propofol.
Okay, yes, I think you're right.
Which is a common one. And so we can get them so that they start dumping any associated toxins, so they won't, so that when they go in with the anesthesia, they're not going to react to it like they did as if they went in with having almost like a toxic reaction to it.
Right.
They'll go in and be able to utilize it, and then they come back after their surgery and we'll do it again, and it gets all of the toxins associated with it out of their system.
Okay, great. Now, with the dumping of the toxins, is it, I think I have 2 questions here. Is it dangerous or at all, I don't know if dangerous is the right word, but to do that before getting rid of your implants? Because I've heard that to do it before your explant almost overwhelms the system sometimes.
Well, and that's another thing I do, is I muscle test the person to make sure that what we're doing will not overload their system.
Okay.
And so I will do as much as I can before we hit that tipping point where it's going to cause them to it just be too much for them. So I will I'll just make sure that won't happen.
Okay.
And then they have a better experience with the anesthesia, because some people have a horrible reaction to anesthesia.
Yes, that is true. And I've had, with my explant, I did great with my anesthesia coming out of it and everything. And then I think I might have gotten something a little different with my most recent surgery. I had to have a hernia surgery back in January, and I felt absolutely awful when I woke up on that one. So I don't know if it can be different at different times, or maybe they just used something different for me. I'm not sure.
Or they might have used a different cocktail of anesthesia.
Yeah, it could be.
That's why I like to test for that large grouping of them, so that we get most of them.
Right.
So that the body, and that would keep your body from having that reaction.
Right. Okay. So to continue with the dumping of the toxins topic. So anytime I would take a supplement to help me release some of these toxins, I would feel very flu-like and kind of sick and just really awful. Do you find that that's common after explant, or with patients in general, that they can't handle it? Like, I don't know if it's a genetic thing where my body just can't handle that.
There are certain, I mean, if someone has like a chemical sensitivity, they can start reacting to all kinds of things. And, explant surgery is an insult to the body because it is a surgical procedure. And so it does create a level of stress on its own, and can, and stress is the number one reason for allergies. So there might have been an item in those, in those supplements that your body just was reacting to. And the main ingredient, or the main reason we're taking it might have been great, but if there was a filler, or because they put fillers in supplements, and they put stabilizers and the magnetic caking agents and all kinds of stuff that have nothing to do with why you would want to be taking that supplement. And I find a lot of people can react to those items. Right. And that's what I have when people come here. I tell them after the first visit, bring your supplements in, bring your prescriptions in, let's muscle test them and see how you do with them. Right. And if they have any kind of reaction to them, if it's something they really feel they need to take, we will make that part of our protocol so that they can stop overreacting to them. Okay. Very interesting. Yeah. I was diagnosed with an allergy to thimerosal, which I guess is like a mercury. So I'm wondering if maybe my body started to release some of that it was having like a reaction almost to that. I'm not sure. It could be. Do you get inoculations, like the flu shot? I've had the flu shot a few times because it was mandatory by the job I had at the time, but I haven't had one in a bunch of years. And so I haven't had any vaccines in a long time, but I have had them in the past. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Well, they can stay in your system for a very long time. I believe that. And there's a lot of stuff in those vaccines that have nothing to do with the illness that they are claiming to be treating. But we won't talk about that. No, we don't have to go. That's a whole other conversation. Yes, that's true. But I have learned a lot I've learned so much since my explant. I never would have thought the chemicals that were involved in the implants, and then I just feel like it was a rabbit hole that I just totally dove down and found out so much more stuff. It was crazy. Yeah. So after explant, there's a mention here talking about post-explant issues like gut and thyroid issues and things like that. Can you touch upon some of those post-explant issues? Like, women get their explant and they're like, okay, I'm going to feel better. And they do sometimes, a lot of times, feel better initially. And then they go through like detox waves, what we refer to as flare-ups. But I feel like we're all left with some underlying issues, gut issues, thyroid, hormones. So I don't know if you can speak on some of that stuff post-explant. I can. Well, thyroid issues are a big deal. And I think everybody, or a lot of people, have issues with thyroid. And it has a lot to do with our environment, with the cell phones and the computers and all of the things that we use on a daily basis. We're just bombarding our bodies with these EMFs that they take a toll on us. And so I actually got some vials that have like for the EMFs, for like the Bluetooth and for 5G, and there's a couple more that I have, and I use them routinely on people to help them so that they can stop having such severe reactions to things when they come in contact with the EMFs that we are just faced with on a daily basis. Yeah, we really live in a very toxic environment now, for sure. It's very toxic, between the pesticides and the environmental stuff and the medications and the chemtrails and everything. Yeah. We have to work very hard to stay well.
Yes, that's true. So what would you do for a woman who came in and was maybe dealing with, I'm going to say gut, because I know I have gut issues.
Gut issues are huge. And whenever I'm continually taking classes and going away and continuing my education. And the top thing they talk about is heal the gut first. And so I always look at gut issues, and candida is like a perfect example of that. That's such a huge gut issues for so many people. And the diet is such a clean diet that I put people on that by and large, they just start feeling better within days. I've had people who've had chronic migraines, like daily migraines for months or years on end. Within a matter of days of getting the candida under control, the migraines like stop. So candida is just huge in with the gut issues, and it has a lot to do with our emotions as well. We have more neurotransmitters in our gut than we do in our brain, and the most famous of the neurotransmitters is serotonin, which people, Prozac and all of the SSRIs that people can take for depression. And if they heal their gut, which is called the second brain, very often all of the other things can just kind of disappear on their own or fade on their own. And one takeaway I would give everybody, if you have any kind of gut issue and you can tolerate it, I would say doing like an 8-ounce cup of bone broth a day, doesn't matter what kind, will go far in helping you heal your gut.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things is bone broth. That's typically something I have almost daily. So
oh, that's good.
I didn't realize that it helped the gut. I knew it was good for me, but I don't know if I knew why exactly.
Okay. Oh, good. And then also taking a really good probiotic, because that will help replenish your gut with good bacteria. And I am a big fan of food enzymes, helping your body be able to digest the food that you're eating.
Yeah, I take a great probiotic from the company that I'm with now, and I take digestive enzymes with just about every meal. So
excellent.
Yeah, so that's helping a lot with my gut in particular. So, and I do, if ladies, message me or whatever, and they're post-explant and they're having trouble with their gut, I definitely mention all of that, because I think it's really important to support that as well. We have one of my good friends is mentioning that she's really interested in learning more about the flare-ups with the gut, bloating, weight gain, even though she's exercising. Now I know in particular this friend who's commenting right now, she's also going through cancer treatments. And so, I'm almost wondering, I know she's really very health conscious, but it's almost like, is the cancer treatment almost, she's doing what she can with her diet, but then the cancer treatment is also not working against her, but like not helping maybe the gut.
Creating more challenges.
That's a nice way to put it. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I think she's probably struggling with some of the bloating and weight gain, even though she's really remaining as active as possible and watching her diet.
Well, if she's on chemo is tough.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what she's on. Forgive me, Andrea. I'm sorry. I know she does the vitamin C drips, and she does, I can't remember the name of it. Maybe she'll comment, but yeah, I'm sure it's just really hard to work against that as well. She also is wondering if you can speak on the lymphatic system. Do you work with the lymphatic system at all?
I do. Yes, the lymphatics, the spleen, and your diaphragm, which is a muscle that goes underneath your lungs. That's actually your pump for your lymphatic system. And I actually have a girl who, before and after I had my explant, I had her doing lymphatic drainage massage for me. And in all of her courses that she took, she said no one told her that the pump for the lymphatics is your diaphragm, which goes underneath your lungs.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, and your spleen is integral in that. And then, you have your lymph nodes and lymphedema and lymphatic tissue. I have a protocol with all of those things that I use to help people to get their lymphatic system more under control. Also, you know, we will see how they're eating. And also, you can be eating some really terrific food, but if you eat the same thing, and a lot of people, especially in this culture, we tend to find something we like or we think it's healthy or good for us, we eat it every day.
Yes.
You're in, you're out, we eat it every day. People come in here, I have people come in here allergic to lettuce.
Wow.
They just eat, and you can make yourself intolerant to anything, including lettuce, including water. You can, if you consume too much of it, your body's like, okay, I've had enough of that. I'm just going to react every time you consume that until you stop eating it and let me have a rest.
That's so interesting, because nobody really ever talks about that, but it makes a lot of sense. And it goes back to the old saying, everything in moderation, right? Because your body just.
Exactly. And yeah. I like to tell people to vary their diet. If you have, I don't know, if you have shrimp today, don't have shrimp for 3 days from now. You should have something different every day, and you can repeat something like on the 3rd or 4th day. Okay. But if you eat something every day, eventually you're going to develop intolerance to it.
I feel like you're talking directly to me right now, because if anybody who I work with is watching this, I usually eat the same thing for lunch every day. It's always very healthy, but I'll go for like 3 months and have my chicken with bone broth and, you know, like a red potato or something. And that, because I'm not lazy, but like I just make my meals for the week, and that's what's easiest for me. So I feel like you're speaking directly to me right now.
Oh, okay. It's good to vary that diet. It will go a long way to helping your gut.
So Andrea got back to me, and I can't pronounce this, Andrea, so I'm going to show Debra. This is what she's on. Do you know how to say that? Kadcyla?
Kadcyla?
Yeah, I think that's what she's on for the.
And okay, I'm not familiar with that.
Okay. Yeah. So, but Andrea's great. She was on here recently, and she's great. She's a warrior. She's going to keep fighting regardless. So,
good.
What other questions did I have for you? So, I wanted to know on a personal level, I know you mentioned that you had a lot of allergies show up. Did your allergies go away? What did you do for yourself after explant?
After explant, I came back here and I actually, from the little drains we had, I took some vials out with me, a couple of empty vials, and I collected some of the fluid that was being drained after, you know, from the tubes after my explant. And I brought them back to my office, and I actually worked on them for myself. And I worked on the protocols I had that have all of the frequencies in them for whatever's in the implants. And I also worked on my lymphatic system.
Okay.
And I believe I worked on some emotional stuff.
The emotional piece is, I don't think it could ever be touched on enough. Because I think for whatever reason, people get their implants, whether it's reconstruction or enhancement, we all have a deep-rooted reason why we probably got the implants. And then, you know, you had them for 40 years. I only had mine for 3, and they were still a part of me for that short period of time. Yours were in for 40 years. They were definitely a part of you. You know, you just, it's a loss in a way, you know, and then you have to go back to dealing with what you were dealing with, which was the whole reason why you got them to begin with. So I feel like the emotional aspect of it is very traumatic sometimes.
It can be. I was actually thrilled to have them gone because they became such a burden, because I was getting so much edema from them. I was getting so much swelling that it was just, I was a little concerned about what I was going to look. Even I know, I'm 67. Really, who cares? But even at that age, I was concerned about what I was going to look like when it was all over. And I'm I'm very comfortable with how I look and I'm very thrilled with how I feel.
That's great. Well, I can say that you look fantastic. So,
Oh, thank you.
so I think it's great. And this was awesome. I'm so excited to have learned what you do and about your practice. I would like, if it's okay with you, to put the link to your website
Oh, sure.
here. And so I'll put that in the comments when we're all done. And this way, if people want to reach out to you, they can. What's the best way to reach out? Is it email or call the office?
I think it's probably call the office. We're here Monday through Thursday, all day from like 10 in the morning till usually we don't leave before 7 at night.
Mm-hmm.
And we still check the phones over the weekend in case somebody, is calling in, needs some help. Yeah, and I do work one Saturday a month, and we're probably going to be expanding that.
Great. And it's Natural Allergy Solutions, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
I think the website is naturalallergysolutionsnj.com.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put the link there. And, before we say goodbye, is there anything else that you'd like us to know or anything you want to close with, Debra?
Well, for anybody who's considering explant surgery, do it. You will just feel so much better. It's just, you know what? All of that stuff, all of the hype, it's not worth it. It's our lives are so much more valuable, and the quality of our life is, you just can't put a price tag on that. And so please get those implants removed, and don't waste any time getting to someone who can help you, and keep in.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. I don't know what happened. Oh, I can't hear you, Debra. If you can hear me, I'm thanking you for being with us tonight. And I think you were wonderful. And I think we've made a great connection. So I'm excited to talk to you more. All right. Thanks for joining us, guys.